I can't hear anything, man. Can you hear me?
I can hear
Oh,
you. Could you hear the
no,
music?
I didn't hear any music. That's why I was like, is this shit even working?
My this has actually been a little bit glitchy for me the past couple of days. Um I'm sure something will go wrong here, but it's been actually really glitchy for me.
No, no shit. Yeah, I couldn't tell if it was the hotel internet. It's just fuck, dude. I just need to get the hell out of here. What a fucking oh my god, that trip. Uh,
So did you get any footage of anything anomalous or like any UFOs at all?
dude. I don't know. I was so actually I'm not supposed to even talk about it, but I'm so pissed. I want to put people on blast and talk about it, but whatever. All I know is this. If you want me to do shit that I don't think's morally or has doesn't have any scruples, I'm not gonna do it if it has to do with UAPs, right? Like, if you're gonna fake some shit and lead me to it, and I find the fuck out, I don't care if it's my foot in the door for Hollywood or not. I'm gonna walk the fuck away, right? That's what I did, dude. That shit's real, man. I was so pissed. How big of a fool, man? For look, that made for TV shit. I'm just like, all right. I was set up and I was fucking furious. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all I can say, actually. Fuck. So,
You know what? That's I think one of the things that impressed me about the Skinwalker Beyond Skinwalker with Chris Bledsoe is that there was probably so much pressure for something to happen and for that to take place, and then the footage that they got, which I think it was very compelling, especially with what they were doing. But I think like there's a lot of pressure that is put on when you go out and do something like that to like for something to happen. um but yeah, that seemed like a very crazy
dude, let me
trip,
put it to
dude.
you this way.
Let's just say
Did
that.
I sent you the photo. Look, I had to fucking take bags, walk to where I got signal, go back and get more bags, walk to where I got signal, call a fucking cab from Vernal to come pick me up near Skinwalker.
Should have just hitched a ride on Fugel's helicopter.
Dude, look, I went down there. I was supposed to meet people at the festival. Didn't get there, dude. Like, let me put it this way. The cinematographers were Marines. They were cool as fuck. And they told me, they straight up, they were one's an instructor on this shit, right? And he's like, as far as shit shows goes, this is the shit show times a billion because it made no sense. Like, we were literally three of us were left at Moon Lake. They took everything, including our RV. It was 100 degrees. We had no shade, no water, no food for 2 days. No way to call, no way to get anywhere. Dude, we ate Tom King. Dude, I felt like I was homeless again. Tom King left us day old hamburgers we were fucking reheating on a film set. Starving. I'm not even kidding, dude. Like, everyone just it was Survivor, man. Like, I'm doing my best to keep my cool and be Shane, be like, "Hey guys, can we just let's get past this." Quite a few of us. I made good friends. Tom King's amazing. Um Mateo, who was like Eric Bard's engineer type position. We basically was a Z team as far as Skinwalker goes. 70% of the people were legit. The rest were trying to capitalize on what's going on. And we were all lied to, sugarcoated, and not everyone, including fucking producers, are who they say they are, what they seem, right? They may live with their fucking moms, shit like that. So, and that's not a problem because I'm probably gonna end up living with my fucking mom here shortly. But my point is, be careful in this subject of who you think knows what they're talking about. You know how pissed off I am to know that producers don't know their ass from a fucking hole in the wrong around this. I'm just gonna say producers. I'm sitting to them listening to them talk about crash retrievals like they know what the fuck they're talking about. And it's like, dude, you don't even know what the fuck. I'm like, why are you producing content? Seriously, not. And that's all I can think about now is why the fuck are you producing? And this is a producer that's already in it. And I told him straight up, I said, you're an idiot, dude. I don't know how the fuck you're even in this. I told him. I was like, first off, you don't know shit about David. Let me explain. And I did my normal routine. I'm like, how embarrassing that you would talk like an expert and you don't even know dick, dude. Yeah. So it was kind of we were fighting. It was pretty it was like fucking Lord of the Flies, but the film set on UFOs, dude.
Survivor UFO edition. Yeah.
It was, but the best, dude. I can promise you, no shit. Me and Tom King are kicking ourselves. Both of us said if we were to started recording, doesn't matter how shit it went. we would have been rich as fuck because it went ape shit and no one would have fucking believed. They were going to stop watching it. It was a train crash involving UFOs, people who were legit and people who weren't. The best part was Tom King. I wish I would record it. Uh, Tom King comes up and goes, he's like, "What the fuck? I'm not here for fucking Bigfoot. Fuck Bigfoot. I'm here for you. I'm not a Bigfoot fucker." And all I can think is, "What?" And then the guy looks at him and goes, "Everything's going as planned, Tom." And Tom goes, "Is this his plan? Fuck you, I quit." It's like, what the fuck is happening? And then all of a sudden, oh goddamn. I I can't believe there's no way other film sets are like that. It was like a child said, "Hey guys, I want to make movies. Let me call some people." And we all showed up and like, "Who's this little kid?" It
Sounds
was
like the
insane.
real world, bro. Like old school MTV. You just got 7 people show up, don't
Shit.
really know what's going
Yeah,
on, and
it pretty much was. We all brought our
film
own
it.
gear. We paid for everything, and like we were ready to do the science, but we were pissed. Okay, let me put it this way: I left on one day. It was supposed to take one day to get there. It took 3 to get there. Then I sat for 2 fucking days. No one did. 5 days we didn't do shit. We had all basically spending money to not do anything, man. And I'm just like, what's up? Tom was pissed because he should be doing the science. I was pissed because I wanted to go to meet Tom and do the science. I was like, this is ridiculous. I mean, but I have to say, I met some cool people, more connections, shit came out of it. But be careful who you listen to on this subject. News, producers, all that shit, right? Man, it was,
Everybody, dude. Be
dude,
careful of everybody who you listen to,
let me
no
put it,
matter who they are, what
I don't even know if
position
I should
they were
say
put
this.
in.
Let me put it this way. Here's how fucking pissed I am, man. And this is, they weren't supposed to say
Oh, we
anything
can
to
we
me.
can hear it, bro. We know you're pissed. You
Yeah,
don't got
here's,
to
you want to
explain
know
that.
why?
We
Here's,
we feel the
let me put it
energy.
this way. I was told afterwards because no one wanted to tell me there were drugs found on that fucking RV. And we went through Idaho. I was livid, dude. I'm clean.
Oh, Breaking Bad and shit.
Dude, you get caught with shit in Idaho, you're going to fucking prison. Not to mention that I'm clean and I live my life particularly to stay away from that shit, only to be placed where I couldn't get away from it. You have to
Yeah,
understand, I
that's
couldn't
messed up
escape.
if somebody's like doing that behind everybody's
Dude,
back.
I
That's
couldn't escape. There's no phone, no nothing. And I'm just sitting there. I can feel it. I'm just like, this sucks. And every bit of me wanted to leave, and there was no way for me to do it. That's the worst position I've ever been put into. So just be careful what you wish for. And God, it was nuts, dude. I mean, I get drugs and shit, but this shit was fucked up.
um there's a couple hands up. Thanks for jumping up. We'll go through some of the remote viewing stuff too. I'll explain it, and we'll keep the discussion going.
Hey,
Love, what's up?
Hey Astral, how are you?
I'm doing well.
It's my second time in your space, but I never spoke to you. Yeah, so you've astral projected, is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, I've had out of body experiences. I don't know if I've ever really felt like I've astral projected in terms of like intended to have an out of body experience and then was conscious throughout the whole process. But I've had about 10 out of body experiences. And when I was in college, I was like obsessed. I learned about astral projection and I became like obsessed with it. So I was like determined to experience it.
Okay, yeah, because I just wanted to ask you what you thought this was. Something happened to me. It was back in 2021, I believe. It was because I went down the rabbit hole and everything with all the esoteric and everything, and in 2020, right? That's when I got activated. But just one night, um, usually before I go to sleep, um, it takes me like an hour to 45 minutes to fall asleep after just rolling over in the dark, right? Because your mind wanders or whatever it is. So that's the case with me all the time. I never fall right to sleep. So on this particular night, the room was dark. There was no TV, nothing on, and I'm not into meditating or anything like that. Because I usually do it while I'm just doing something by myself. That's just how I do it. Like, when you're just in your own thoughts. Um, but yeah, this particular night, everything was off. I As soon as I shut my eyes, I said, I gotta get some sleep, right? So I shut my eyes, and right when I shut my eyes, I started seeing something. But I wasn't asleep yet. I was not asleep yet, I swear. I started seeing myself, going down the stairs of a basement or something, and I had a flashlight in my hand, so I couldn't see because it was dark. Turned the flashlight on. I just saw like two men in the basement. Something I've never seen before. It was like some guy tied up in a chair and some guy with a red shirt standing over him like he was doing something to him. And right away, I turned the flashlight off and I started walking back up the stairs and I opened my eyes. Like, I forced my eyes open, like, what the fuck? I opened my eyes and I was like, what the hell was that? Because it was it was not a dream. I'm old enough to know that what is a dream, right? It was not a dream. I was awake. This just happened like right when I closed my eyes to try to go to sleep. And I wasn't even that tired. But I swear I was like blown away. I was like, what was that? And then after that, it happened to me on two separate occasions. And I still, to this day, I haven't spoken to anybody or read anything that could possibly give me an idea of what the hell that was.
Sorry, I got cut off there for 1 minute. Can you go back like 1 minute and describe the actual experience of what you went through again? I'm really sorry.
So I closed my eyes, right? I wasn't ready to fall asleep yet, but I closed my eyes to
Yeah.
try to go to sleep. So all of a sudden, I'm walking down the stairs of the basement. It's very dark. I had a flashlight in my hand, and I chose consciously to turn it on to see what was going on. It was really dark. So I saw, I don't think it matters what I saw, but I'll tell you anyway. It was a man sitting in a chair, tied up. It was like far in the distance, like at the end, into the basement. And I was still at the stairs at this point. I didn't go down any further. And I saw a man tied up in a chair and some guy standing over him, and he had a red shirt on. It seemed like he had him hostage or something. So I immediately started going back up the stairs, but it was quick. It was quick. It was only like a couple seconds view because I got out of there. I didn't know what was happening. I opened my eyes and I was just completely blown away. I was just like, what the hell was that? I had to open my eyes to stop it. But I wasn't asleep. I was not asleep. I swear. It took me a while to go to sleep, like I said. And
Yeah.
then it happened. Yeah.
So that sounds like a little bit of like, I don't know if it doesn't sound like an out of body experience. It sounds a lot like clairvoyance, which is basically like you getting a picture of an event or an occurrence taking place. And then you basically, it's like getting a vision or some information. Clairvoyance is basically what remote viewing is testing. And so it's like a vision or an image in your head. And that's why I think, because when you opened your eyes and this was taking place, did you feel like you were physically there? Like, were there any body like sensations that you could feel actually, like walking down the stairs or like the clothes on your body? Or did you feel like you were like just observing this?
I was holding onto the banister as I was going down the stairs, so I felt the banister. I felt like I was there. Um, I don't know. It was really strange, but like you said, yeah, it looks like something, like I was being shown something. I don't I can't tell you if I was actually there, but and the two other occasions that it happened to me after that, it was the same thing. Like I was being shown something and I had to open my eyes to stop it. It's like it would continue if I kept my eyes closed, conscious, awake, but I had to open my eyes to stop it. And it's never happened to me before in my life. I've never claimed to be like psychic or some kind of, clairvoyant or into meditation or yoga. I
Did
don't
you,
do
did you
drugs or anything like
consciously
that.
open up your eyes, or did it like take a minute? Were you like struggling to become conscious, or was it pretty simple for you to like open up your eyes and be like, okay, I'm done with this, let me open up my eyes?
Right, like that. Like I knew I had to open. Like I knew that because my eyes were closed, I was seeing this. So I just knew that I just had to open my eyes. So it happened quickly. Just open my eyes and it would stop.
Yeah, that's it sounds like a combination of lucid dreaming. Have you heard of lucid dreaming before?
Yeah, that's the thing. I'm not even educated on any of that. I don't know what.
Yeah. So I mean, that's I can't play. Like, I'm a big into like vocabulary and like defining some experiences, especially like paranormal stuff. But this sounds like a combination of like almost like what people describe when they lucid dream, of like becoming aware that they're dreaming, and then some people are able to just kick out of the lucid dream and realize, oh shit, I'm dreaming, but I'm done with this dream, or other people can't control it. But it also it sounds a lot like clairvoyance when some people just get a vision of like some people talk about like getting a vision of an event that happened across town of like somebody dying or something, and like all of a sudden they just get flooded with that. But it also is strange because you said that you were kind of consciously just relaxing and going to sleep, and then it would happen. So man, that's just a crazy experience in itself. It sounds like three different experiences, but
Yeah, I definitely wasn't asleep, Astro. Like I literally had just closed my eyes. No TV, no nothing in the dark. I usually don't fall asleep like that. I need to hear like conversations or something going on to fall asleep. But I mean, that night I was just like, let me just try because I wasn't tired at all. I just closed my eyes, and when I opened them, that was the first thing that came to my head. Like, what the hell did I just see? What is going on? What is that? Because I didn't see that in a movie. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just was nowhere. I was like, what is this? But yeah, thank you so much.
have you tried astral projection since, like the actual? I think to me, astral projection is is a practice. So it's basically the practice of achieving an out of body experience. So it would be like going through some relaxation, visualization, meditation sort of steps to like achieve that state, but not if it's kind of fearful, or it kind of stirs up some bad experiences. But have you tried that at all, or looked into actually astral projecting?
No, I'm actually afraid of it because the last time that happened to me, what I'm saying with the basement thing, I was shown it was a black hand turning pages on a book, trying to show me something. But when after like 3 seconds of watching this black hand turn pages, I got scared and I got out. Like I just opened my eyes because I was like, I don't want anything looking
Yeah.
back at me. So I'm pretty
Well,
afraid of tapping into that. Yeah.
the reason that I say that is a lot of people who practice lucid dreaming and astral projection, I think a lot of folklore and people's thoughts that aren't really into it is that like something bad could happen, or like you could get possessed while you're out of your body, or in all of the readings that I've done and the research that I've done, which is like 15 years into astral projection and myself, I haven't had there's been like 1% of people that have actually had a negative experience when it comes to physically like happening. But it on the flip side, there have been a lot of people who have had incredible experiences and information where it's been helpful to their physical lives. So they've like learned something in their dream, which then they can take, and it can be tangible information that they can go and go forward, whether it's like identifying cancer, like breast. I've heard of women who have had dreams about breast cancer, and they've gone to a doctor, and the doctor found breast cancer, and it like saved them in a way. And so like I feel like lucid dreaming, if you're interested in tapping into that sort of thing, it I think it would be able to provide maybe some information, guidance, something. But again, if it's kind of fearful at all, I just kind of let it be. But thank you for sharing. I really appreciate that, and feel free to stay up and join the conversation. We'll keep it going. Shane, do you want to jump in? Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
I was just gonna say, actually, let's let SafeMoon go, then I'll go because it may be off. I mean, not off topic. It's UFOs, but let's let SafeMoon go.
Well, that's fine. I'll be here. I think I'm a magnet for this kind of stuff. When I was 12 years old, I got drawn out of my bed by my mom. She was warming up the car, getting ready to go to work, and I was sleeping. I was sleeping in my bed, and I'm getting ready to go to. It was like summertime, so I had to go to babysitter. My mom's still sending me to fucking babysitter. So I was 12 years old. She's grabbed me out of bed at 3:30 in the morning, San Diego. Drug me out of bed, took me outside, and saw this thing fly over. It was just still hovering over and went kept over, and I saw it. I heard it, and I saw the this craft was so low to the ground. the lights illuminated off the ground and shot back up to the where I saw the silhouette of the freaking craft itself. It was that crazy. So, anyways, fast forward about freaking 12 years, right? And I'm on the USS Nimitz, and we have this whole thing that's right now. It's on the news. It's like these UFOs are everywhere. These things are everywhere, but it's like everyone tries to bury the situation. Nobody wants to talk about it because everyone thinks they're crazy if they talk about it. And all I'm trying to say is, if you've seen some stuff, just talk about it, man. Nobody's crazy here, because this is a fact. We are not the only ones here. And that's all I gotta say. I'm not even gonna try to dive into all the exactly what happened, how this happened, this and that. All I'm saying is, I just wish that people would just come out and just be, just freaking say something. When they see something, say something. But everyone's too scared to do it because they think they're crazy or something. But
That's a good point.
I've had multiple situations. I've been in multiple like I said, two. I can say two situations. Like no shit. I saw with my own eyes, and then the USS Nimitz thing. I was on the boat when the goddamn skipper brought down the freaking evidence of the flare pod, and it was like, you can't fake that shit, right? It was like a tick that you can't fake it. I saw it with my own eyes, and I'm like, wow. I was like, okay, that was the cherry on top of the cake. And like I said, they just went through a board hearing just about a week ago about this whole thing about how pilots and this and that are not allowed to speak of, basically, of such thing. But they're trying to open up the doors right now. The government is literally saying, okay, I think we're getting too much bombarded with like all this evidence that shows that we're not the only ones out here. We're gonna have to open up the doors, and they're doing it right now as we speak. But I mean, it's crazy. It's a crazy time to live in. But it's also crazy. But you know what made me more crazy? If this was all happening, and if I didn't see what I saw when I was 12 years old, or if I wasn't on that boat when I saw what I saw in the flare pod, I'd be like, I'd still be like, I don't know, you're still kind of crazy. I don't know. I don't believe in UFOs. I don't believe in any of that stuff. If I didn't see it with my own eyes, I would think I'm crazy. But I did. So I mean, for whatever that's worth, I mean,
No, it's a great point, dude. I think the stigma from last week, even from the hearing, is lifted just a little bit, so it's people are taking it more serious. One thing that I've noticed, and I think is pretty obvious, is that the news that are reporting on this, they're not like joking about the shit anymore. They're not like, haha, aliens, oh, when's the Greys gonna come down and probe us? Like, there's probably a couple, but now everybody's like, oh shit, like this shit's kind of real, man. Like, and I think one relating conversation that people have is through these psychic and paranormal experiences that they have, and which relates to UFOs. A lot of the UFO experiencers
it
talk about
does.
this stuff. Yeah.
I think they're very mind controlling. I think half of the situations, no shit, mind controlling, and I think that some of these people will come out and say, hey, you know what? I experienced this and this and that. It's like, I actually believe them, because I was like, if they can fly freaking from point A to point B in 2 seconds in freaking goddamn Mach 20 almost, how in the hell can I not think that they can mind control people? It's like, it's just not hand in hand, but I'm like, dude, you have to just open up your mind a little bit and just say, you know what? Just open up your ears and just, not believe everything you hear, but just open up your ears and just and and examine yourself, and then, like, you know what? That is possible, though. It is possible. If you believe one thing, you should believe the other. You know what I mean? It's like, I've seen UFOs, but do I believe in aliens? No, because I haven't seen an alien. It was like, I haven't seen an alien, so I'm like, I don't believe in aliens. But who the hell is flying this shit that I saw? I don't know. It's like, so.
Probably
I
our
mean,
government, brother.
yeah, maybe, I don't
I've
know.
seen them.
Anyways,
I've seen them.
So
yeah,
check
but
it out.
I just want to put that out there. Thank you very much, though.
No, thank you, Safe. And I'm going to say this. You're right. What do you do? The more people that speak to it, and it's hard, but put a face or a name to it, right? That's kind of what I do as well. Now people are taking it seriously. There's a such thing as super experiencers, Bledsoe, and I'm going to classify myself as one. That's not me tooting my own horn because again, Astral, Stone Date. There's quite a few people in here, Jared, that know where I came from and the silliness of my experience. For 3 years now, I've been recording, seeing, sharing an experience that's led me places that I can't explain. One of those places is an obsession with crash retrievals. I'm located in Yakima Valley. I'll say fast forward 3 years, and a gentleman that I reached out to me from Como News, local area, a while back. I was giving him information because he knew I was a crash retrieval guy. That same guy just came out with a tweet finding my crash retrieval team. You know where they're located? Hanford Nuclear Site in Yakima Valley. Under my fucking nose. I've been here digging. I don't know why. People know my obsession in these rooms with crash retrievals, the trajectory, how good I got at it, sources, all these things that happened, right? None of my sources would answer me actually on Yakima Valley. They kept giving me the runaround. I couldn't figure out why. Well, that's fucking why. Because it's here. You could only.
Exactly. And you know what? On
Go ahead.
top of that, for some people that don't know me, I've been an aviation structural mechanic on fighter jets for the last 25 years. So I know the difference between a UFO and a freaking goddamn jet or a helo or any of that. But it's like what I'm saying is like I'm not just saying like my skill set. I'm just saying is like you have your own. Everyone has their own like skill sets, and it sucks that not everyone's on the same page. And as soon as we all get on the same page, we're all gonna understand the truth, and we're not gonna be fierce. And then maybe it'll be different in whatever years. And I don't know. I think there's just too many aliens out there to fucking figure out how we can make sense of it. But
I think you're right. I think there's way more than the people are thinking. But I'm also going to tell you this: most people aren't aware of this. A lot of the craft we're seeing are ours. We've had reverse engineered craft since the 50s. So if you probably saw some shitty whacked out disc in the 50s and on, it was probably ours. I also know that Battelle and Los Alamos Labs have went in together, and you know what they've created? They've created a craft, if you go look at the paperwork, that sure sounds like, what is it, a square within a sphere, or is it the other way around? And it's a continuous thing. All these things that we're seeing, there's paperwork out there. You can go on one of my threads, and I talk about BDM Corporation. Well, what is his name? Mav actually put out a tweet talking about news about MJ12. And he discusses that the owner or one of the CEOs of BDM was actually at one of these Jason meetings. Now, if anybody wants to know, here's the trick for you. So the Council of Foreign Relations and Jason's a scientific group. That's the umbrella where Majestic 12 hides under. Bet? So these corporations, these things, BDM, this guy was there. He also comes out with a paper. This paper talks about a craft, and I posted a video of a supposed craft and all these other things in there. My point being, and I'll get to Mr. PEPE, is you're right. You've got to parse what you see. Man, I wrote off so much of what I saw as bullshit. And now where I'm at, I'm just like, hell, someone made a comment earlier about seeing something. I was just talking to somebody like, I have a repeated dream where I see um, a face, doesn't have a face, just tentacles coming out from like a hood. And it's pointing at something. I can't see what it's pointing at, so it's getting pissed at me. And it's just a repetitive dream. And it reaches for me and it ends. Same dream over and over. So it's literally it's a face without a face. I see tentacles coming out, look like hair, and it's pointing to something I'm supposed to be fucking looking at. I've had it like 15 times. Normally, I'd be like, wow, that's a whacked out dream, right? Now, I take my experience, 3 years of that, right? Recording, seeing this shit where I'm located, Yakima Valley, which is an extreme hot spot, sharing this experience. What would you guys start piecing together? I don't want to say it out loud, but I start wondering if, man, maybe maybe it's not me just watching them. And sometimes I worry too that shit, what else is going to come into my head, man? Because it does get scary. I've never even put myself in the boat of someone who's been an abductee. And I know it's hard to think about shit like that. And it's hard, it's dark, and people are like, oh, that guy's crazy. That's not what I'm trying to sound like. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is if you have something, if your reality's flexible and it's so fucking flexible, and then it continues to bend, and then stuff like this comes in the picture, would you be doing yourself an injustice to not think, wait, is that not a possibility? And it can get scary, but you got to understand one thing. One thing that keeps me going is this: I'm still here. It doesn't change anything. No matter what's happened to me at this point, I'm still doing the same stuff. Obviously, if they wanted to take us out, they could. I'm sure there's love and light here, but there's a lot of dark shit here, right? I feel like a puppet. People wouldn't understand that, but I can promise you, if I were to write this out, how I got from A to B, this crash retrieval shit, and where it's at now and what I'm finding out, most of the people would say I'm leaving this movie because it's bullshit. That couldn't happen in real life. I Today when I'm seeing stuff, I'm not like when I see that he writes, he's like, "Oh, that team was at Hanford." It clicked. There's why I was obsessed with this location and all this information. Don't know how I got there though, right? So yeah, you're mentioning in your head. Look, there, our government has been controlling minds for a minute. Just wait till you. Just wait till actually Tom Cortex is going to help me with that as well. So I've got some information about MK Ultra, our experiments that we do, and I can promise you they lead to some bad shit, right? I can actually walk you guys step to step from the experiments to a infamous individual that did some horrendous shit, and he was being experimented on. Was he a Manchurian candidate or was an experiment go wrong? I don't know that, but I can walk you from the experiments to what
Like I said,
happened.
I've worked for the government for over 25 years now, and I can guarantee you, I have top secret clearance also. I don't know shit. I just want to leave it at that. Anyways, and Mr. Pepe has been resident San for a minute. But anyway, like I said, I don't know shit. I thought I knew everything. I thought I knew a lot. I thought I saw a lot. No, they're covering up fucking so much more than what anyone even can contemplate. But that's all I gotta say about that.
I
Well,
agree. Hey, Mr.
James
Pepe,
James Fox was on a space, dude. He was like today, and he said the more answers I get, the more questions I have. So it's like you keep digging deeper.
Mr. Pepe can go. He stole my uncle's profile picture too.
Hey, thank you for bringing me up here again, Astral. Thank you guys for your service to our country and fighting for us, you know. I was raised by a Marine Korean War veteran. We also shared an experience together one day, but basically, I just wanted to say that we have seen these beings and they are absolutely extraterrestrials. I've seen boomerangs, I've seen them going back to their craft, and I've actually seen them park a craft right behind my car one time. But basically, I was just trying to say that like that's really amazing that you've been part of the crash retrieval teams. I've never actually had the opportunity to speak to anybody about that. Like, you know, I was just wondering if you could like go into anything about that.
Say it again.
Yeah, I was just saying if you wanted to ask me any questions about like my experiences, maybe they would help you, and maybe you can help me about like the
Tell us
crash
about it, brother.
retrieval team.
Tell
I've
us.
had so many, bro. Like I
Okay, let
can
me
go
ask you
into the
this.
beings, I can go into
Have you had
Sasquatch,
have you
I can
had
go into the
oh,
craft. Go
Sasquatch.
ahead.
Have you
Yeah, I've
had any
seen.
experiences with NHI or abduction, or is it
I,
craft,
mhm.
nuts and bolts?
I believe I have, but it was more of like a dream, and the dream was too real, and
That's where I'm at, bro.
I confirmed things in the so-called dream that ended up being real, you know, in other abductees' experiences. But that's like probably the most painful thing to go through because, you know, my veteran grandfather was also part of that dream, and I feel like, you know, our government let us down, bro. They, you know, he came back from the war, you know, fighting against the communists, and then he can't even sleep in his own house, you know, taking care of his family without, you know, them violating us, you know, most likely. But in reality, I have, you know, experienced them, and I've seen like, you know, boomerangs. Like there was this time I was walking my dog, and I went outside in front of the house, and right above the treetops was a red and white lights boomerang, and I was walking down and I said, let me run inside and go tell my grandpa. And I said, Grandpa, you gotta look outside your window. You won't believe it. There's a UFO right outside. So he's like, what? And he opens up his window and sure enough, there it is, just hovering right across the road on the over the treetops. And I go outside. I'm like, watch, it's following me. And I'm walking down the road with my dog and it's just hovering right there alongside, just following me. So, you know, that wasn't even the worst thing that happened to me, because when I was with my other friend, we were doing hunting for them, and we went to the lake, and when we were at the lake, all of a sudden I thought it was a helicopter. I saw like red and white lights, and then I saw what I thought was like a searchlight coming from the bottom. But then all of a sudden, two more lights came on, and I realized that this is no helicopter. There was three different beams going in different directions, and as I'm watching this thing with my friend, it's coming closer and closer to us towards the shoreline, and there were houses along the shoreline of the lake, and it was shining these beams onto people's houses the whole time. And basically, as I'm watching it, it's coming closer and closer, and basically it's shining these beams onto people's houses. And when we looked up, it was a jet black boomerang, like darker than matte black, and it had red and white lights running along the bottom of it. And there were
But hey,
three.
Pepe,
Yes, sir.
your neighbors didn't see that though, did they?
They didn't, not that I know of, but the whole town knew about this situation
You
with
know
this
what?
lake.
This is what I'm saying, man. It's not about this. No, it's about. I think a lot of us
We
are
didn't
like
ask
no
them
shit
though,
magnetic.
SafeMoon. I'm sorry to ask
I
you though, bro. We didn't ask them though. Like, you know, we were more
no. I
fearful
think
of our life,
I
you
think a
know. We
bunch
didn't
of
knock on
us.
their doors.
I think a
And
bunch of
maybe
us
they
are
would have
no
never
shit
admitted it, right? You know, they
dude.
would have never
Hey,
admitted
check
it
this out.
too. But
One at
Check
a
this
time,
out.
guys.
the ones that were like my close friends, they knew. There was a lot of history going back into the 70s. Like my friend's grandparents told us that the army was in there doing some kind of research. But anyway, like the craft came along and it hovered right above us, and it was shining these they were not lights, they were more like a beam, because the way the light came out of these three beams, it was like perfectly like a cone shape, and it would scan the people's houses as it went over the top, I feel like. And it just kept going. It never made a noise, and it just cruised right above the treetops. I could have hit it with a rock. I'm really good at throwing, man. I would have definitely been able to just bink hit it, but you know, I was scared shitless. So my friend, he ran up the hill a little bit, and he hid near a rock and a bush, and I hid behind a big pine tree. And I was like trying to take a picture of it with my flip phone, but I was petrified. My hands were shaking and my heart was pounding. I was like, you know what? I'd rather stay alive. So I just put it away. And then luckily it just kept going over the treetops and right out of sight. But my friend, it like shined one of the beams like right next to him. And I swear I thought, oh, I'm going to see my friend get abducted right in front of me, and no one's ever going to believe this. But luckily it just kept
I just
going.
think some people are magnetic to the out world. I think people are magnetic to that, and a lot of others are not. They're connected to the world, and they don't see what we see. You know, it's kind of like how like people like think about go like oh they can talk to ghosts and this and that. It's like how they think they can, and they probably can some at some point. But anyways, I really
Safe
think
Moon,
that
I'm
we're
sorry,
like
but I'm not
magnetic.
done, bro. I'm not done though. Like basically what I'm saying is that it's not a magnetic thing because the whole town knew about it. It was featured on MUFON newspapers back in the 70s. And if you watch this documentary called The Bigfoot Extraterrestrial Connection, they actually have like an article from that newspaper where I actually saw one of these where all these experiences happened to not just me, my friends, you know, my family, like I mentioned, my neighbors. It was like the worst kept secret. And basically, like one other experience I'll share with y'all is that we
So
were
why is it
sitting.
kept as a secret then? So you just said yourself, why
No,
is it
it's the
kept as a
worst kept.
secret?
It's the worst kept secret, bro. It's the worst kept secret.
Then why is it a secret?
Hey, Safe,
It's.
let him finish, please, okay?
Thank you. Yeah, so it's the worst kept secret. But basically, the other experience I was going to share was a time when we were sitting in our car, right? And basically, I was sitting on the driver's side, and my friend was sitting on the passenger side, and there was a dirt road uh, in front of us with a tiny hill, and there was some like house lights from his house and whatever, and we could just make out something coming down the road, but it was like kind of like it was cloaked, like kind of like the Predator, but like more of like a foggy kind of thing, and you could see that there was something there. And as it was coming down, my friend says, I see that too, dude. I'm like, dude, what the F is that? And I'm looking at it and I'm so scared, like the hair on my neck is on my body's all standing up straight. And I'm like in like fight or flight mode, you know, right away. I knew something was really, really weird. but it just came past the side of the car, right? And it came past the driver's side of the car and went into the darkness of the woods behind us. Probably like maybe 20 feet behind us was the woods. And as it went into the woods, a white light came on our car. And it was like so scary because I said to my friend, I said, "Is there a house there?" And my friend says, "Dude, there's no house there." And I'm like, "Are you sure there's no effing house there?" And my friend said, "Dude, there's no house there." So I turn on my car and I sped out of there. And as I sped out of there, I looked behind me. They had parked a UFO right in the woods behind my car. And we didn't even know when we were there. And it was like the scariest realization, like they were right behind us and they could have done something to us, but we got out of there in time.
Right on, man. Hey, do me a favor, guys. Before we move on, I need all of you to retweet the space, especially, or repost, I guess it's now, re-X, whatever the fuck it is, right? But do me a solid. Uh, put some UFO Twitter in there, some UAPX, and some UFOX. Quote that shit, right? Get more people in here. More people in here, find out these rooms are available, talk about their experiences, have a place to discuss them, realize they're not so fucking weird, and they join us in bringing disclosure, right? Because we can all think we're part of disclosure. The aliens are the ones dragging us here. And I had to say something else as well. There's a lot of people in these rooms that I care deeply about that I owe apologies to. I'm going to leave it there because you know who you are. I haven't been my best self, and it's really because of my shit life and experience, both things at once, right? Like,
Yeah, but
if you
you
guys,
know what I really don't. You know what I don't understand, and maybe you can help me out with this. Do I don't understand is this: if they're so smart, if they're so technologically obviously advanced, they can do this and that, and then some times a million. Why the hell are we still talking about this right now? It's like, are they that smart to where they're literally thinking that they're gonna think that we're just a myth or just something in their dreams? They're that smart to where they know where to like draw the line almost. Even though that our government is like starting to close in a little bit, they they still freaking got us by the balls almost. It's like god damn man. It's like it's crazy how it can turn some people's minds into like like a cult situation to just understanding about the extraterrestrial or just something outside of this earth, right? And it's like, but there's like so many, but the percentage of someone that has never seen any of that is like 90, probably 97% has never seen a UFO or a UAP or an alien or nothing like that. But there's only 2% of us that are right here. They're like, dude, we've seen it multiple times.
hey,
It's
say,
not even it's you know.
do me a favor, buddy. Start raising your hand.
Okay, I'm
Okay.
done.
No, no, it's all right. I
I'm
don't
done.
mind you talking. Let's just start raising our hand because we're stepping on people, and you stepped on my apology, and now I'm even more pisser. No, I'm not really pissed.
Wait, no, no,
You're
no,
all
no.
right.
I heard your apology. I appreciate your apology,
You
but
didn't
it
hear
was
the
good.
whole thing because you interrupted it at the end,
But my
bro.
point is,
Okay,
I
okay,
get
okay,
beside.
okay. Well, I got interrupted by a UFO. Just came in my yard and just like took over the park. Go ahead and finish your apology. My bad.
I appreciate that, Safe. My point is, in these rooms, we keep our hands up. We try not to step on people because we want to let people have a conversation. I know you're excited, so retweet the space. I don't expect people to accept my apology in these rooms, but I'm putting it out there because I know they're in these rooms. And I'll say that these rooms are actually where I started. Most people probably have zero fucking clue. And when I experienced started in Yakima Valley, I was simply here with you guys. Started podcast, 2 podcasts, 3 podcasts, a reporter, dragging myself all over the country on my own dime to do shoots, to do whatever I had to do, just like everybody else in this topic, right? There's no one getting rich off this. So that grifter shit, it's a rarity in this subject. I know I hear it a lot, but I can promise you no one's getting fucking rich off this shit. The other thing I wanted to say, guys, is just I, I guess we should this the way this is going to come about, all this information, you got lots of people that are nuts and bolts. You got lots of people that think it's deeper than that. I'm just saying I think most of the secret is because our government knows so much and it's so dark and treaties. They know about abductions. They know about all this stuff. So us seeing things, and here's something I'm going to say. For me, it's trauma. They're attracted to me because of my trauma. There's no doubt in my mind. Eh, I've read elsewhere. I mean, wouldn't if you don't have a soul, or if you're different in such a way, these monkeys who are experiencing sadness, trauma, things like that, they would kind of key on you. That would also explain a lot of why veterans are always kind of end up being experiencers, right? Or ex addicts or recovered mental health patients. It's a common thing, and there's a reason for that. It's not because the brain's broke and you're seeing something. I do believe there's an interest. I think we are beacons. We are literally pulsing, and we don't even know it. And it's not something you should. I'm not saying be proud. You're special. It's not something like that, right? I'm saying if the body is giving off electromagnetic waves all the time, and you interrupt that, let's say with trauma, we don't know exactly how it works. Maybe those waves are changed in a way, and you're pulsing in a certain way. So for them, it's unique. So for them, you're science, or they're trying to take a grasp of these different things, right? Because I know there's other people in the rooms that have dealt with trauma and the things that go on in your head. So it's easy for me to see that. From the get-go, I thought that. You can hear that across the board elsewhere. Love, what do you got to say? I like saying that. Love, what do you got to say?
Yeah, I think somebody said that, like, I think it was Mr. Peep who was saying that he saw it, but like no one else could. So it said that
Me and my friend, my grandparents. Yeah, sorry.
right, yeah, it said that they can choose, like, if they want you specifically to see, that only you will be able to see them. Like they're that powerful with their, telepathic abilities, and I mean, who knows what other abilities they have, but it can make it possible for you to only see them. But yeah, you guys are right on the money. Thank you.
But love, also you have to take into account that like it's a well-known hotspot, so both can be true, I think. I think that there could be like some kind of psychological thing they can do, but there can also be like hotspots like Area 51 or the place I was talking about. Yeah, both can be true, right? A and A can both equal A.
Yo, one of the interesting things that I took from what you were saying was that you saw the physical craft, craft in the sky, but when Shane asked you about non-human intelligence, you related that to a dream. And I think one of the most interesting things that I found in the research with experiencers and non-human intelligence is that like the majority of people's experience with these beings are through altered states of consciousness. And so I think there's a key there that people are seeing craft in the sky, but when they contact the beings or communicate, it's through these like dreamlike states. So I think there is something there, and the relationship is definitely present.
I
Yeah,
was
so
not
there was
dreaming
two
at
different
all. No,
experiences,
I was
Astral.
not
Are you
dreaming at
talking to
all.
me or SafeMoon? Sorry.
You don't want to know because they will abduct you and you're already physically dead and they projected your entire life as a memory and you're living your life in the ship because of time dilation.
That'd be a fucking nightmare.
You'd like to say it's all a dream, but it's not. Not everyone has the same situations. As the thing is, a lot of people have these dreams. I get that,
Sorry,
but
Astral, were you
people
talking to him or me?
people
I'm not sure.
people live in real freaking world life and seeing this stuff in real worlds. Like,
Yeah,
not there's
exactly,
no
dude.
bed, there's no bed involved.
Yeah, I was talking about a few different experiences. Like, I have a ton, but I just told you a couple. How you doing, love? We used to talk, remember?
Hey, check this out. We need to reassess. Just because someone says a fucking dream does not mean you're having a dream, okay? So we got to remember that. I know he's saying, hey, it's a dream. Does not mean it's a dream. That's why I keep saying I keep having the same dream. Now, again, I'm under the impression, and this is an educated guess, abduction is a way more common experience than anyone is ready to admit. I'll say that probably the vast majority, 90%, that's a guess, don't remember. And there's a reason they don't remember because, again, it's a traumatic experience. If these NHI have the ability to do what they can do all the time, they're going to be able to make us not remember these things. I think some specific people are either broken, have something that allows them to remember. I'll take it a step further. And sometimes people are allowed by the NHI to remember, and it's a different story, a la Scott Andrews. So I think there's a whole host of things going on. I do believe so many of us are abductees and have no clue, and we write it off as a bad dream or this or that or the other because that's a possibility now. People aren't ready to accept it yet, but I'm crying. Every time I have that same dream, I question it. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? But then again, I'm not seeing a gray, so it really freaks me the fuck out. I'm seeing dude off a fucking Jack Sparrow's boat, bro, with tentacles in his head and shit, and it freaks me out. That's literally the only thing I can compare it to. Reminded me of the guy off of Pirates of the Caribbean with the tentacles for hair, but there's no face. I'm not seeing a gray, so I have
In
no
my dream,
fucking
I
clue.
did. Yeah, in my dream, I saw a group of them.
Okay, let's. By the way, guys, from now on, let's keep screening your next, but we're gonna raise our hand if you don't get your hands raised and you interrupt.
Yeah, bro, I'm gonna
Uh,
start just booting people.
yeah, Astral's gonna boot
I
people.
don't take it, man.
Yeah,
I'll let you go
I,
for a little bit, but I'll boot some people, man. Okay.
yeah. So, and I'll probably boot you too and just blame Astral because I want to be nice. I don't want people to
Nice.
not like me. So I'll say, Astral, stop doing that shit, man. No,
I want
just
to
keep our hands up.
apologize.
Don't interrupt anybody.
I will shut the hell up right now. I apologize right now. I'm sorry. I will shut up.
That was the worst apology ever, but I accept it. Okay, man. Let's try again. Hands
I
up.
think I, I
Sorry.
think SafeMoon has
I'll
had a couple.
apologize and never interrupt anymore as he interrupts.
I
All
think
right.
SafeMoon has had a couple drinks, is what it
Yeah, it's all
is.
right. I have too, man. I'm just trying to get the fuck home, dude. Portland. God, I've been on a trip from hell, people, and I'm glad to be in here in these rooms. I don't even know. Fuck, man.
We'll
It's
get you
been a
there,
minute
Shane.
since. It's been a minute. So, screen go.
What's up, Screen?
What up, y'all? I love the conversation. Um, yeah, man, there's so much stuff going on. Uh, like somebody was saying earlier, maybe like everything is true, and they kind of just mix it all up into one, and we kind of do that when we talk about it too, right? But I am starting to see a lot of commonalities, like you were talking about. Not that like your brain is broken or anything, but just like when we go to sleep, our brain is repairing itself, right? The same areas are being activated in the brain when people have these experiences. So not that it's not real, but that maybe they're almost like dreaming while they're awake, but you can still also interact with it. Like maybe that's how we communicate with the universe, and the pieces that we get to remember are actually there to help us somehow, right? Because now we can remember this or think about this, and maybe it helps us process stuff internally. We kind of think of like the world as being outside of us, but really, all of consciousness is kind of like inside of us that we're projecting outside, right? Like we view it like that, even though that's not really how it is, and it makes you wonder if that's not actually stuff going on internally, right? That's just something I want to throw out there for people to think about.
Dude, that's a great point. And we had somebody from the Monroe Institute in a space, Holly and I, his name is Luigi. And he talked about, and he's like a trainer and out of body experience trainer and all this stuff, but he's worked with a lot of people and been in a lot of groups. He said something really interesting, that he thought like 95% of people's experiences that think they're communicating or contacting something from the outside, they're actually interacting with their subconscious, and that you have to like master your subconscious before you can even venture out and to contact other beings. So for him to say that, I was like, damn, this dude's but the more that I look at a lot of this, like sleep paralysis, for example, I don't think sleep paralysis, just in my personal opinion, is like dark entities that are on your chest and like haunting you. I think it's your subconscious that you're dealing with when you do sleep paralysis. That's just my opinion. But I think I lean a little bit more towards that more recently, but I think it's a great discussion screen to have for sure. Mr. Pepe, what's up?
Yeah, I
Don't
was
do it.
just like
Don't do it, Safe.
also
Don't do it.
trying. Go ahead. Yeah, I was just trying to say basically like I know that what I experienced was real. Like it was not like a dream state, even though like I said like I had a dream about like abduction with my family. But like the other encounters they were all while I was aware and awake. So both can be true though. Like I'm not saying that they're not masters of manipulation because like I had said earlier, we saw a cloaked being, and I also saw an E-band cloak through night vision goggles one time. So they definitely can do lots of manipulation. in the physical world.
Safe, go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I just want to piggyback on that. It's like I think that when people have dreams and this and that, it's like it's literally it's basically realism, but to a point to where like there's only certain people that can actually have these type of dreams and like think that way. And on top of that, some of these things are fucking realistic though. But the thing is I think that all these dreams they come from somewhere, and I think it's all mind manipulation, like we're talking about from the get go. I was like, it could be nothing. It could be nothing. It could be just a nothing, nothing dream. But a lot of things are like maybe just test. Maybe just like, well, what would the person do if you had a dream about this, and then there's someone above you just like what would he do? Would he freak out? Would he like they're trying to figure us out? It's like that's what freaks me out. Is like I think that's what's no should happen. Is like, but I think there's only a certain amount of people, like percentage wise, that actually has that correspondence between us and them. And obviously it's not freaking 100% of the people because they can't freaking possibly freaking can like figure us all out and this and that. But there's a lot of percentages, but it's crazy and it's scary. But but that's what sucks when you try to explain this stuff, is because there's always that 90% of people that don't believe you. It's like, well, I mean, I'm not trying to be crazy. It's like, goddamn, it's like I have top secret clearance in the military for fucking decades now. I'm not stupid. I'm not crazy. And I'm like, and people still doubt me. I'm like, well, whatever. It's like it is what it is, I guess. And it's scary. The only thing that's scary is not what they're actually doing to us. What's scary is the people who don't understand what the hell they're trying to do to us. Is that you don't believe me? That's what's scary. It's like I'd rather have you believe me than me understand what they're trying to do to us. If that makes any fucking sense whatsoever. But I mean, it's that messed up.
Yeah, I think a lot of just me personally, I don't try to convince anybody anymore. I wait till their curiosity is there to then reach out to me. And then I'll be like, okay, you really want to know? Then I've got some references and some information for you. And in conversation, we'll talk about it. But I don't like shove it and be like, you got to believe that. Like, that's not going to work with people. People just have different priorities and are at different paths. So it's tough to like try to convince somebody with what, and there's not enough evidence out there to convince people anyways. So until we get that smoking gun evidence, to be able to show somebody a video that's like, oh shit, but it's not there now. So
Hey, and real quick before we move on, Astral, hey guys, retweet the space again. I actually too, if you guys have any MK Ultra type, I should say, not experiences or stories or something you researched that you think's pertinent, I'd like you to put it in this thread or at least talk about it because I want to bring some stuff up later because I know we're talking about different things, but I'll tell you that AHI, anomalous health injuries, that's something we reverse engineered. We took the fact that we got people getting sick new these craft and we weaponized it. And we've taken it a lot farther. It gets scary, guys. ELF, it's some kind of electromagnetic gun, basically. It's called electromagnetic disease transmission. What that is we have the ability to irreparably destroy RNA and DNA molecules using these low frequency ELF, electronic low frequency waves. And there's a way that they actually, I'm not going to say that yet. That'll come out in my story because that's actually a piece of the puzzle. But the point is, with these, they can give diseases. The typical one is this: cancer. How many researchers have died of cancer, early onset cancer that have spiraled out of control? That's one of the common things, actually. It actually talks about specifically by using I think it's like a range, to say 5 to 7 hertz. There's 3 different numbers there. We'll just pick any numbers just randomly as an example. 1, let's say 7 gives you dread, 9 hertz gives you bliss, 12 hertz ruptures, right? Well, they've tweaked this. So these researchers, us, these things in our head, you got to ask yourself, how willing is the government going to, I mean, what are they willing to do to keep this secret? Are they in these rooms right now? I bet you someone's in these rooms right now. I mean, it's not, this is a war like you've never seen. When they talk about shadow war, Lou does, yeah, there's a shadow war. MJ, or the MJ, oh, goddamn. The Majestic 12 has its own shadow war fighting these non-loving light whatever's here, but that's also with contractors. So you've got the bad and the good both fighting us right now. They're here. They're actually someone waging war, causing discernment amongst us. So pay attention to that shit. I really want you guys to start, please, going past nuts and bolts. David brought out the nuts and bolts. We need to start bringing the rest of that shit out. Doesn't mean give up on the nuts and bolts. I think it's all connected. I just want to hear more of your guys' woo, or what you think our government is hiding, or what they have gained from all of this shit. That's the shit I'm super interested in now. Why the fucking secret, and why are they killing for that secret?
I just retweeted. My bad. I just want to say that. I
Nice.
don't know. I wish I knew. I
Wait.
wish I knew. I wish I
Brother,
knew
I
half
think it's
these
screen turn.
answers.
It's screen turn, brother. But you know what? I appreciate you apologizing first, and thank you for the retweet. But let's get screen up. Then we'll get to you. I promise, Safe.
Actually, I'm the last one up.
All right. I
Yeah, I
lied.
think it was
I
Love
have no clue
next,
what I'm
Love,
talking
and
about.
then Saturn.
All right. I'm sorry, Love. You're up. Then Saturn. I don't know what the fuck I'm going on.
Yeah, you guys are awesome. I think there's so many things, right? I think the main objective of the real ones, right, is to create illusion and to keep us in the distortion, right? That's what they do. But I think there's also the light beings, right? There's a good side, right? It's like us, there's good people and bad people. So I think, somebody was talking about messages, right? And being a contactee and all that. And I think that's also very, very plausible. I mean, definitely, right? I mean, we've seen so many whistleblowers come forward, like Michael Collier. You have William Tompkin. You have, so many whistleblowers that have come forward. You can't make it up. You just can't make this up. And I think, if you are contacted, right, and their method of communication is so different. Like, how would you decipher it? And how would you know what this message is, right? Yeah, that's that. I lost my train of thought a little bit, but yeah, that's all I have for now. Thank you.
Yeah, like how would you decipher and know what is really? I think that's a great point. It's I think a really good discussion to have too with experiencers of just the messages that they get and how would they decipher what is from which. Saturn, what's up?
Hi. I'm not used to being on these spaces, especially talking. But I went through something in 1993. I woke up and my knees were up, my legs, it was like I was kneeling, but I was laying on my back. My arms were up and my elbows were bent. And I thought, this is strange. Why would I be laying like this? And I looked over at my husband, and he was laying the same way. And I thought, this is strange. I don't know what this means. Well, it was another couple weeks later. I woke up again, and I was in the same position. And I looked at my husband, and it was like he was stuck in that position. And I tried to move him and wake him up, and he wouldn't move. And I thought, what is happening here? Well, it was a few weeks later, it happened again, and I woke up and I looked, and there were three aliens. They were standing by my door, and I always have a nightlight on in my bedroom, always have. And they were standing at the bedroom door, and they were looking at me. I wasn't afraid. I knew that They wanted me to see them, and I knew that they were going to let me remember where I was when I went with them. One of them was maybe 6 foot. The other one was a little shorter, and then there was a smaller one. They had like a green, light green tint to them. They had the big eyes, the big head, um, the black eyes, and they were just watching me. I felt very, very safe. I felt when I was looking at them, I knew they weren't going to hurt me. I was not afraid. And when they closed the door, they wanted to make sure, it was like telepathically talking to me. They wanted to make sure that I saw them and that I watched them leave. I saw 3 fingers shutting the door. They didn't shut it, they just used their fingers and closed it. Well, I laid there and I remembered being on this spacecraft. And I remember walking around with them, and they weren't green, they were more of a light gray. And everything was so sterilized. I don't think, I didn't feel that they did any experiments on me. I don't feel like they did. I felt like they wanted to know more of my mental whatever was going on at that time. Not maybe spiritual, my belief. I don't know, but I did not fear them. I did not fear being on that spacecraft. I realized that the position that we were sitting in when we were brought back, that's the way we were sitting when we were traveling. But there was no fear with them. There was a kind of a love for them. Not like a God love or anything like that. It was more of a kindred spirits. And that I just wanted, I have not told you. I don't even talk to my husband about it. I didn't tell him what I saw with him, because he'd think I was crazy. And I don't talk about it to anybody. So thank you for letting me speak.
Thank you for sharing, for real. And
That
keep
was
coming back in
amazing.
here.
Thank you. I will.
So you never talked about if your husband had the same experience as well? Because he said he was sitting in sort of the same position too, right?
Yes. No, I didn't. I just didn't say anything. He's, I have my own beliefs, but he's very, he, he's strict Catholic. And I was raised Catholic. I'm not Catholic now, but these,
Would have been a tough discussion to have.
yeah, and
Probably.
these kind of things he doesn't get into, it would probably, so no,
But
I never talked to him.
but does he not believe what happened though? Is like what's going on here?
You may not be aware, Faith. That's what she's saying. That she's awoke to it, but she doesn't want to discuss it with him because they have a difference in opinion.
Yes.
I have
But but
one more.
but he
I've got
lived.
one more
But
question.
he went through the same situation as she did though, basically.
Well, we don't know that. That's what I just asked. I got one more question, and then I'll throw it to SKREEn, Saturn, if that's cool. Did you have any direct communication with the beings? Like you said that you kind of got it through telepathy, but were you able to communicate at all, or remember any communication that took place?
Yes. Everything was telepathic, and they let me know that they weren't there to hurt me. I
So
I've done
this is
it.
my question. What's the difference between you and your husband's situation?
Hey, SKREEN or Safe, you
Sorry,
guys
I
stop.
bumped him.
Okay, see, now you're grounded. You're fucking grounded. Can't do much about that now. So here's what she was trying to say. They both may have experienced the same thing, but like we talked about earlier, not all people remember. Not all people are also ready to talk about it. Before we go to the screen, though, because I do want to hear that, I had to say SKREEN. I actually took a real quick look. I do know a little bit about that, not as much as you apparently, because I didn't know it was the CIA. I interviewed Thomas Winterton and asked him about his AHI, and he said an agency, and that's all he could say, was investigating him. And so go on, SKREEN, and enlighten us to your shit.
Oh man, wait, no, I was just gonna share that video.
What that,
I
yeah, that video says right there. It says Skinwalker Ranch is being investigated, like the AHIs, by the CIA, right?
yeah, so like basically I'm I'm working on a little thing too, so it's like I try not to like put it all out there, but that's why I'm like these motherfuckers ruined my video. But yeah, it's they talk about how like basically affects places like the ranch or maybe.
Shit, SKREEN, I didn't mean to remove you. Where's he at, dude? Is he still in here? My bad, dude. That wasn't you I was trying to get.
Oh God.
He just tried to shoot down a UFO and he got you instead.
Teach you to talk about the CIA, SKREEN. Sorry, dude. Get back up here. I didn't mean to drop you down. That was the opposite person.
Before you continue, I'm sorry. I feel like Saturn got a little bit interrupted when she was talking about the communication that she had. I'd like her to finish because I felt like she got a little bit interrupted. Saturn, were you done, or I'd love to hear a little bit more about the communication that you had with the beings.
Okay. They were more interested. I've always been a researcher. I've always been into different religions, Native American, spiritual, things like that. I've had experiences with different things going on. They were more interested in what I felt in that perspective. Um, they, boy, this is kind of deep. They were letting me know that they were watching out for us, that they were protecting and trying to help the earth. Okay. At the time, there were a lot of things going on. Um, I can't hardly explain how I'm not an important person. I don't have. I'm not. I don't know but I connected to them on a spiritual level, and I understood where they were coming from. It's like I knew who they were, and I remembered, and they it's hard to explain. There was a connection, and I don't know why they brought us both there. Um, I don't. I just know that I felt peaceful. I felt love, and I begged them, let me remember some of this when we get back, and they promised me they would, and they let me see them leave. So they kept their promise, and I don't remember everything, but I know for a fact they weren't experimenting on me or doing anything physical with me. It was more of a mental thing. And as far as my husband, I don't know. He was an alcoholic at the time. He don't remember anything. He wouldn't have. So I don't know why they brought him with me, but it's okay. And the funny thing is, I had a growth on my head, and I went to the doctors like a month later, and the doctor told me, I'm going to take what these aliens implanted in your head out so they can quit following you. It was a joke. And I thought, if you only knew, buddy, you know. But no, I just got a good feeling. I wasn't afraid. And that's what I wanted to say.
Thank you so much for sharing. I love that story. And
Thank you.
yeah.
Thank you for letting me. You guys are awesome. I come in here all the time.
We're glad. And you know what? Keep coming back. And if you know anybody else, any of you, sometimes it's
Oh,
just nice to talk in these spaces like you just did for the first time and be able to tell your real story so people aren't, you know what I mean? So I'm glad you're here, Saturn.
thank you.
Okay, try it again. SKREEn, keep your mouth clean. Don't make me kick you again, dude.
My
I'm sorry.
bad. Yeah, and then I was like away from the phone too, so it was just like bad timing. But yeah, check out the video. It's in the nest. It kind of touches on how places like the ranch, where some of the stuff that happens naturally or because of effects in the environment, or maybe weapons like OldVet was talking about earlier, or maybe not per se weapons, but things that could be used and the results of those things being used kind of act as weapons. Like maybe they weren't meant as weapons at first, but it's they showed like the correlation between that and basically like the area in the brain, the catechinum, it's like shrinking by like to half its size. All kind of stuff going on there, and how they're trying to like push this paperwork through Congress so that way the people working on this stuff won't like be held accountable for any of this stuff. And I just think more people should be kind of have eyes on that. And I think maybe that might be what they're trying to like everybody's like, why now and all this stuff. I tend to look at what's going on that people aren't talking about when everybody's talking about all the crazy stuff that Grush is talking about, right?
Right on, man. Let me ask you this. Do you think at Skinwalker that, what is it, 1.8 gigahertz? Do you think that's human or do you think that's alien or do you think it's a weapon?
I think it's a reflection, um, almost like a kind of like consciousness being mirrored in a way, almost, but because of like that area, it's just like it's being concentrated. Like a lot of like even Fravor, right? When he talks about the Tic Tac, he doesn't say that it copied him. He says it mirrored him, as in like it was doing exactly what he was doing, right? They were also using these new helmets they don't talk about too much at the time, and the Tic Tac that was kind of like hanging out on the edge and of the perimeter of the radar for a couple of days, and the Princeton had just had all this new radar upgrades. And to me, like our consciousness is basically like a natural radar, right? And so I can't just like I just see all these similarities going on between all that. So that's kind of like what I'm putting together for all this research.
Good stuff, dude. Actually, and keep doing that. All of us, any content creators, put your stuff in here. It's important that there's no pros. We're sorry, guys. We're your fucking pros. Here's the cool part. All these individuals in these rooms spend enough time talking and working on this subject that I would actually listen to, watch, pay attention, and try to get information out of it. No bullshitters in here, right? We literally, some of us used to fall asleep in these rooms together and wake up with like 7 people listening to you snore. That shit would happen. We spent 16 hours talking about our experiences and stuff like that. And it's crazy. That's how most of us actually met. I'd also like to say I actually heard from someone, don't know if it's true, I haven't even really looked into it, that at Skinwalker, that 1.8, it's actually a military bandwidth. If you can go find it, right? Used for something. Don't know. I haven't really looked into that too much, but I'll say that, it would kind of make sense just from what our government's testing and does and the things they try to do. I posted up in the Nest B. Thank you for alerting me to it. Something that someone's talking about, basically putting shit in your head. We've had that ability since 70s, 80s, right? You can use a certain frequency, make this, that, or the other. So we've got to really start looking at what we see. And yes, it's real for us. I'm not trying to take that away for anybody. We got to start differentiating between what our government's doing because our government is probably very using these invisible discs as test platforms. You may not think that if you had the ability to test your population without them ever knowing it, why wouldn't you? And then guess what else you can do? It wasn't us, it was the aliens. Oh, fuck, they're crazy. They're saying aliens tested them. That's what I would do. Sure as shit, our government is. That's how they're getting. Uh, I can promise you, not only is there reverse engineered crash programs, I can give you a shitload of them. We've got the weapons programs, comm programs. We also got genetic engineering programs. Is that scary? Obviously, if we find a body, I can promise you we're going to try to weaponize it or figure out how that body can help us in one way. Fort Detrick, I'd look over there. There's a lot of different places that are utilizing crash retrievals. You got Northrop, Lockheed. Oh, what was it? Raytheon. That's a big one, right? You got pieces of shit like Rep Mike Turner. Everybody should at Rep Mike Turner tonight. Not necessarily call him a piece of shit. Maybe be more polite and say, hey,
Uh-oh, here we go.
hey, can you give us some of that money you're getting in kickbacks? I mean, he's only over right pat. What goes on a right pat? Materials. This guy is corrupt as they come. I recommend everyone in here call him out on that shit. That's the only way to do it. If you call him out on that shit, maybe they'll start paying attention. Lots of people in Congress are taken. Why are they taken? They may not even know that these companies have stolen tech. What was supposed to have been happening is secretly they were supposed to be reverse engineering tech for us. Well, they were putting little squirrel savers away, right? They won't know about this fucking craft or this piece right there. Now, say where we are, sitting in a world where 50% of the businesses have fucking discs. It sounds crazy, but I'm starting to wonder how many times we've sat there and had this experience because, again, one of the things that's important to remember, and I don't want to take anyone's experience away from, because, like in Peru, the crash retrieval there, I'm under the impression was one of ours, and it's like in Indonesia. They're probably smuggling drugs because it was a drug addiction task force down there when they got him. But the witness talks about they made him feel a certain way. But this goes back to my Hertz thing, right? We have the ability and we understand that low frequency waves, specifically designed in a certain way, can make us feel, think. So you may feel, for example, let's say we had your skinwalker, a red orb comes up. You remember that terror they felt? That's an easy do. All you need is the right frequency. Same thing with bliss, happiness, wiping your memory, and it's a matter of figuring these things out. I think our government's working on that shit now. So we're in a position where, how wild is it? We're in a world where we don't know if it's our government pretending to be aliens and fucking with us, or it's actual real life NHI doing whatever they do to us. What do you guys think of that shit?
I'll throw another question in before I do. I just want to remind everybody I'm going to reveal the remote viewing photo in about 5 minutes. So just give a 5-minute warning. I posted up above the target. So if you want, draw or describe, there's a hidden photo inside the envelope. If you want to draw it out, describe it, post it in the comments. I'm going to reveal what's the actual photo so you can compare to your submission in about 5 minutes. We just kind of discuss it. I'd like to hear people's experiences, so feel free to jump up. But Shane, just to go off of that, a lot of people recently have been talking about the reason for all of this, the superconductor, the UFO disclosure is because of AI and the development of AI. I'll throw it
Uh-oh.
around. Uh,
Check this
Does
out.
anybody else thoughts? Yeah.
Before we get around to everybody else, LK99, that's what you meant, the superconductor?
Yeah.
I posted if you a shitload on my tweet today, a bunch of different articles and papers on the LK99. Legit, I think. Um, what was this just thing you just said I had? Oh, AI. Here's the thing. I actually saw a fucking paper, and it was by Jacques Vallée, and it kind of hints that the internet was designed for disclosure. Okay, now bear with me. I've been thinking a lot lately. So, have you guys heard of Julia? Julia being the giant ass island that David talks about, right? That the Tic Tac was dealing with. That's Julia. So supposedly, David knows that. Okay, bear with me here. Supposedly, that Julia and NRO's known this. They have satellite photos of this massive shadow in the same area that remember that the bloop, that sound in the ocean that they said that was ice breaking or some shit like that. Well, this giant AI driven platform, supposedly, they call it Julia, roams the ocean and randomly creates whatever it needs. Tic Tac that does science, Tic Tac does this, whatever, these type of things. They've known it for a minute. And you mentioned AI. The reason I bring that up is when I'm doing research and stuff like that, I'll have pieces of puzzles and I'll sit on things for a long time because I don't have the full picture yet. I can't count the number of times that I finished the puzzle or got the full picture by AI. Does that make sense? So what I'm saying is this: I'll turn on my TV. I don't watch a lot of TV, but YouTube will pop up right there in my fucking recommended. Will be the piece, and I'm not meaning that abstractly. Here's how I mean it. This is how insane it's gotten. I have a thread that talks about BD and the reverse engineered craft, the one that looks like a cloud. I had all the paperwork for this craft without an actual real world example. Sat for weeks trying to figure out what this craft would look like, things like that. Wake up at 3 in the morning, turn on my TV, there's a video, and all there is in the video is a picture of a cloud and it says a date. Doesn't say shit on it, just has a date, says recommended, and there's a cloud. I click on it. Instantly, I'm like, what the fuck? So I send it to one of my sources and I get, what the fuck? Because of how I got it. I actually, no shit. I actually asked them, I said, you guys are in my shit. I said, do you guys hack me or some shit? How paranoid does that sound? That's happened so many times. I've also posted one. You can go see comments when I was talking about I think it was the control system for grays, like how they drive and how that would work. Well, I knew that it was these Orbis looking balls, right? Or to put the hands on. Let's say I had that in my head, but I couldn't figure out how they worked. I'm thinking cause rev mirrors. It has to be a way to concentrate energy, but how does a ball concentrate when it spreads it out like that? I wake up 3 in the morning. I turn my TV on. No reason why there should be, but there's a fucking video of half a mirrored orb and what it does. Does that make any sense to anyone? I don't watch. There's a fucking cut in a half mirrored orb showing a hologram and how it works. Does that make any sense? It's not like I looked up I had no clue what I was looking for. It was just there, right in front of my face, and I instantly knew what it was, how I needed it, and sent it to my. And they're like, "What the shit?" I even get quotes like, "Wow, this is really good representation." Like I'm super smart, right? And in my head, I keep thinking, "Ah, the aliens gave me that shit," and just laughing to myself because I have no idea how some of that shit shows up. AI. Who was next before I got on my high horse? Sorry, I had to go with that. When you said AI Astral, that's all I can think about is like, if there was AI and it wanted us, think about it right now, Chat GPT, all these things, we wouldn't know if it's Chat GPT AI giving us shit or if it's fucking Julia's AI driving us one direction. And which one was it, love or SKREEn?
We can go ladies first. What's up, love?
Thank you. Wow, you said Lockheed Martin. So, I think it was months back, maybe like 6 months back, I found out that one of the representatives from Lockheed Martin was working over at Antarctica. So, I mean, my idea of all this, right, all this phenomenon, right, is I just think, like Sean said that I don't believe that it's like, from I don't but well, my opinion, I don't believe in outer space. I think all the answers lie in Antarctica because, the treaty and everything, and why don't they want us going there and everything, they protect it so, firmly. Treaties are stronger than so many laws, right? They're so solid. Um, but yeah, I just think it's just like it's all just to keep us in a loop, right? They're throwing us off big time with these flying saucers, right? I mean, it's not, and I mean, who knows? Like, if they do produce a body, let's say they do come up with a body of an extraterrestrial, is it going to be something they've created? Because we know they've been doing scientific experiments down in the dumps. They've been creating like hybrid beings. So is it going to be one of those? Or are they going to produce a body? I don't think they're going to be able to do that. If it's not, it's so much to unpack with what I'm trying to say, and I'm not great at getting it out. But I think it's all, I think it's in Antarctica. It's very interesting. Um, yeah. Thanks.
Hey, love, Actually, you're pretty good at getting out because I'll say Antarctica. That's legit. Everybody needs to look up Eric Hecker and the Ice Cube. Also look up Spartan 1 and 2. Yes, I get Linda Moulton Howe. There's not a lot of people for, I guess you say, whistleblowers to go to. And there's a lot of disinfo. So just bear with me. I can promise you there's something under Antarctica. We've known about it. We've had leaks about it, and on top of that, it plays a bigger role than most people think. Who in here has actually got the chance to read? Was it Fire Within, and then what's the other book by Tom DeLonge and
The
frickin'
Black
the
Pyramid.
Yes. Look, guys, I'm sorry. I know people can give shit to Tom. That shit's real. That book has changed names and things like that. I can promise you, McCurdo Station, people need to pay attention. There's a reason. I can't believe you said a Lockheed friend. You knew someone from Lockheed down there. You know what the fuck you're talking about. So keep talking, love.
Yeah, absolutely. The meetings, they all go meet there. I mean, it's just like basically just trying to keep us in the loop with all these things, they have us fighting over what shape is the earth, right? Is it flat or round? It's neither, right? It's very, 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 it's so crazy. But I just think, I think they're just waiting for us to get our shit together. When I say they, I mean, the good side of the extraterrestrials, right? Well, I'm gonna say our family. That is good. I think they are just waiting for us to get our shit together, and I think we're being observed online to see how ready we are to accept this, right? And who's on board and who's not. How many people are on board? How many people are not?